Why is it that some people can live in the heart of a busy city yet feel deeply rested, while others escape to nature and still carry chaos within? The secret may lie in two deceptively similar paths: simple living and slow living. Both promise peace, purpose, and freedom. But beneath the surface, they couldn't be more different. And choosing the wrong one for you could quietly steal your joy, even as you downsize your wardrobe or sip tea in silence. Let's unearth the deeper truth behind these lifestyles and discover which one truly aligns with your pursuit of intentional happiness. In this video, we'll journey beyond decluttering closets or rearranging furniture. We'll trace the quiet roots of simple living, a life sculpted by necessity, clarity, and self-sufficiency. Then, we'll wander through the rhythm of slow living, where time expands and presence becomes the new luxury. By the end, you won't just understand the difference, you'll feel which path calls your name. And in that answer, you might just unlock the kind of joy that doesn't fade when the to-do list grows long. There is something profoundly human about the longing to return to less. And to understand simple living, we must go back, not by decades, but by centuries, into landscapes where silence wasn't a luxury, but a lifestyle. Picture the weather-worn sandals of a desert monk walking alone at dawn, the slow sweep of a broom across a wooden monastery floor, the smell of boiled rice in a modest Japanese home. Simple living has never been about interior design or aesthetic trends. It has always been about alignment, the quiet integrity between how we live and what we truly value. In the early Benedictine monasteries, simplicity was a sacred vow, not a punishment, but a portal to clarity. To own little meant to hear more. To consume less meant to be consumed less, by worry, by ego, by excess. And though centuries have passed, the echoes of that lifestyle still whisper to us in moments of quiet dissatisfaction. When the overfull calendar or cluttered living room suddenly feels unbearable, it's the ancient instinct for simplicity that rises in us, like a tide remembering the moon. But in today's world, simple living often gets mistaken for minimalism in its most aesthetic form. White walls, clean desks, sparse wardrobes. That's not what it truly is. At its core, simple living is not about owning less for its own sake. It's about creating a life that is deliberately frictionless, where your time, energy, and values are no longer pulled apart by 1,000 invisible threads. It is not performative. It is not curated for others. It's quiet, and it is yours. In fact, one of the most striking differences between simple living and its cousin, slow living, is this. Simple living seeks to remove what doesn't belong, while slow living seeks to relax into what remains. The former is subtractive, the latter immersive. And that subtle divergence is what makes your choice so personal. Simple living isn't a trend, it's a return. A return to self-reliance, resourcefulness, and a pace of life where contentment comes not from novelty, but from familiarity, from the same breakfast each morning, the same walking route each evening. It doesn't crave newness, it savors enoughness. And in that, there is something revolutionary. For in a world that profits from our distraction, to choose simplicity is not passive. It is one of the most active, defiant, and empowering choices you can make. If simple living is about clearing the excess, then slow living is about softening the pace, not to do less, but to feel more. It is not merely a schedule adjustment or a time management hack. No, slow living is a philosophy that alters the rhythm of your existence. To live slowly is not to be lazy or inefficient. It is to live in time, not just through it. It's a shift in the very gravity of your day, where tasks are no longer things to be conquered, but landscapes to be wandered through. To truly understand slow living, imagine the way the sun moves across a small kitchen table, how it lingers on the wood grain, how the dust dances in its presence. This is the pace of slow living. It doesn't chase time, it accompanies it. And it is no accident that this way of being has long been practiced not in boardrooms or bullet trains, but in villages, farms, and forest paths, where life was dictated by the sky and seasons, not screens and deadlines. While simple living speaks of reduction, slow living whispers of expansion, not in material, but in moments. One doesn't need to quit their job or move to the mountains to embrace it. Slow living is found in how you pour your tea, how you tie your shoelaces, how you listen, truly listen, without already formulating a reply. It is the pause before the reply, the breath between bites, the unhurried kiss goodnight. In the modern world, this philosophy becomes a quiet form of resistance. When your phone clamors for attention, when the world tells you that urgency equals importance, slow living invites you to ask, must it be now? Must it be fast? And in the silence that follows, you find something precious, agency. The power to step back from the conveyor belt of urgency and reclaim your tempo. What separates slow living from mere relaxation is this: it is intentional. It is not the collapse at the end of a hard day, but the conscious designing of a gentler one. It is not escapism, but engagement with life at its richest frequency. And in that presence, even the mundane becomes sacred. The chopping of vegetables, the folding of clothes, the sound of wind in the curtains, all regain their rightful place in the tapestry of living. Where simple living declutters your space, slow living declutters your time. It removes the need to hurry through life just to get to the next thing. And in doing so, it reminds us that life is not something to be rushed, but something to be savored, minute by minute, breath by breath. At first glance, simple living and slow living appear to be twin stars, gentle, calm, and perfectly aligned. But spend enough time walking their paths, and you'll notice a quiet tension. The pursuit of less doesn't always mean the same thing. While one trims away material clutter, the other loosens the grip of time. And sometimes, those goals don't just diverge, they collide. Imagine a woman who embraces simple living with fierce intention. Her home is sparse, her wardrobe minimal, her digital life curated to the edge of invisibility. Yet her days are packed, each hour optimized, her lifestyle perfected down to the second. She has less, yes, but she's always doing, always refining, always simplifying further. She is a minimalist on paper, but her mind runs a marathon each morning. Now imagine a man who practices slow living in a way that feels almost indulgent to outsiders. His shelves may be cluttered with books he loves, his kitchen filled with spices and stories. He forgets to optimize his closet, but remembers every bird call in the morning. He has not simplified his space, but he has softened his pace. Here lies the paradox. You can declutter your surroundings and still clutter your soul with urgency. You can own very little and yet be imprisoned by your routines. Simplicity of possessions does not guarantee simplicity of spirit. It is here that many seekers of intentional living get lost. They confuse the aesthetic of minimalism with the experience of presence. They believe owning less will automatically slow them down, that empty drawers will equal empty minds. But the truth is far more subtle. You can live simply and still be sprinting. You can live slowly and still be overwhelmed by your belongings. These are different axes of life. To confuse them is to chase peace and end up with a checklist. What this reveals is the need for discernment. Not all slow lives are simple. Not all simple lives are slow. And neither is inherently superior. What matters is the alignment of your internal landscape with the external structure you choose. Are your days a reflection of your values, or a reaction to someone else's? When simplicity becomes competitive, when slowness becomes performative, both lose their meaning. But when approached with sincerity, when you truly ask yourself what you need to feel free, then the clutter begins to lift, not just from your shelves or calendar, but from the very way you carry time, thought, and joy. Step into a rural village in the American Midwest, and you'll hear the rhythm of life in the creak of a porch swing, the slow boil of a pot of beans, the soft hum of a tractor in the distance. Now shift to a high-rise apartment in downtown Toronto, where every square foot is maximized, where silence is rare and life is stacked vertically. In both places, the desire for a calmer life exists, but it wears different clothes. This is the quiet truth we often overlook. Our relationship to simplicity is shaped not just by our desires, but by our surroundings. Culture, geography, and even climate mold how we seek less. Simple living and slow living, though deeply personal, don't emerge in isolation. They are subtly sculpted by where we live and what we inherit. In agrarian or nature-connected cultures, such as in the Appalachian Mountains or the open plains of Canada, slow living feels like a return to ancestral rhythm. The seasons dictate activity. Work follows the sun. Meals are unhurried. Even speech has a measured cadence. Here, slowing down isn't a choice. It's a way of being passed through generations. By contrast, in urban or hyper-digital environments, Los Angeles, New York, even suburban Melbourne, simple living becomes a counterforce. It is not the pace but the volume of life that overwhelms. The hum of traffic, the constant notifications, the pressure to own, to update, to be seen. In such places, owning less becomes an act of self-preservation. The tiny apartment becomes a sanctuary. A single teacup becomes an anchor in the storm. Here, simplicity is not about slowing time. It's about carving out clarity amidst chaos. But there's more. In cultures with strong communal roots, think Inuit traditions or indigenous Australian practices, life has long revolved around shared space, shared labor, and minimal personal excess. Not as a philosophy, but as a function of harmony. These cultures embody a simplicity that is not curated, it is inherited. There is no need to declutter what was never accumulated. This brings us to a profound realization. We don't all arrive at simplicity from the same door. For some, it's about mental health, too much noise, too many options. For others, it's economic, learning to thrive on less because less is all there is. And for many, it's spiritual, a quiet resistance against a world obsessed with more. Understanding this cultural lens is essential, especially in a globalized world where slow living can be sold as a luxury and simple living can be mistaken for poverty. The truth is, neither lifestyle is elitist nor exclusive. They are reflections of place, heritage, and necessity. To truly adopt either, one must listen not just to the self, but to the soil one stands on. There comes a moment, quiet, subtle, when you begin to feel it. Not the pressure to follow a trend, not the guilt to own less or the urge to retreat to a countryside life, but a gentle inner voice asking, what pace truly nourishes me? What weight am I meant to release? This is where the fork in the road appears, not between right or wrong, but between simple living and slow living. Two philosophies rooted in peace, yet leading to different kinds of freedom. Some lives ache for space, not on a calendar, but on a shelf. If you find yourself overwhelmed by options, paralyzed by clutter, or burdened by the hidden weight of ownership, then simple living may be the path you didn't know you were searching for. It offers relief not through idleness, but through reduction, through creating a landscape where the mind no longer mirrors the chaos of the room. Others don't need fewer things, they need longer moments. If your days blur together, if you've forgotten what breakfast tastes like when it's not rushed, or what it means to finish something without already beginning the next, then it's not your space that's cluttered, it's your time. And this is where slow living becomes your invitation to re-enter your own life, not at a sprint, but at a human pace. But it isn't always one or the other. Life, after all, is layered. You may begin with decluttering your home and realize it was your mind you were truly trying to free. You may start by slowing your meals and realize you're also slowing your expectations. Simple living often opens the door to slowness, and slow living, in its fullness, can lead us back to simplicity. What matters is not which approach is better, it's which approach is truer to your current season. In times of overwhelm, you may crave clear surfaces, clean lines, and fewer commitments. In times of burnout, you may long for softness, stillness, and unmeasured hours. The key is listening, not to the world's noise, but to the frequency of your own fatigue and fulfillment. Because joy, real, grounded joy, doesn't live in extremes. It lives in alignment. When your pace matches your purpose, when your surroundings reflect your soul, and when you finally feel, perhaps for the first time in a long time, that nothing is missing. In the end, whether you choose to live more simply or move more slowly, the goal is the same: to reclaim your life from everything that never truly belonged to it. This journey isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And if today's video sparked something in you, a desire to breathe deeper, live clearer, or finally choose a pace that feels like home, then let that be your quiet beginning. But don't stop here. There's a whole world of insight waiting for you, from the small space wisdom of microtopia to the ancient calm of elderly wisdom, to the reflective pause offered by the hollow era. Each playlist on this channel is designed to take you deeper, gently, into what it means to live meaningfully in a noisy, modern world. So take your time, explore, reflect. Let simplicity meet slowness in your own way. And when you're ready, I'll see you in the next one.